Yep. I'm on and unmuted.
Okay, there we go. For some reason it didn't register that.
All right. Hopefully y'all enjoyed that early morning Friday jam. Just enough to get you awake and get you going. I won't have to keep you long this morning. I've got everything ready to go into your packets. So this is what you're going to get on Monday. And in this is going to be a quiz. I sent out a message on Parent Square yesterday about the protocol for quizzes. So raise your hand if you got it. I don't know. I can tell when it's been delivered. I can tell when it's been read. But that's all I can tell. So what's going to have to happen, you make sure that your parents or your guardians, whoever is overseeing this portion of your life, just make sure that they read the message. There are really specific directions on taking quizzes. So basically the environment has to be exactly like it would be in here, and you can't have anything with you, no notes, no book, none of your work, anything like that. And then when you're done with it, your proctor, whoever it is that was supervising you, has to sign. I put a place at the top right underneath your name for the proctor to sign, and then you shouldn't have access to it again for the rest of the week. You shouldn't see it before, you shouldn't see it after, only during, and then it goes back into the packet. I'll grade it next week. So it should all make sense. Hopefully it will. So I only want to do two things with you today. I want to just walk through the rest of this review that we're working on, which will help you tremendously on the quiz that you're going to be taking on Monday. And then just to kind of give you a little heads up, let me throw some terms at you, make sure that you're familiar with them, that you will need to be familiar with whenever you take your quiz on Monday. So you're going to pick up on this review of triangles on page 397, and we're going to start on number 23. And on that section, those are the problems where you know that these two triangles are similar. You have to draw them out and plug in the given side measurements and set up proportions. Now, this is what I want to make sure of. Like on number 23, you've been given triangle ABC and triangle XYZ. Okay, so the only thing that I want to be sure that you know is when you draw these, make sure that A corresponds with X, that B corresponds with Y, and that C corresponds with Z. So what that means is, if you were to name this triangle, let's say starting here, doesn't matter, but if this is the route that you set for this guy, then these have to correspond, okay? If you name this ABC, then this guy has to be named X, Y, Z, okay? A and X have to correspond, B and Y have to correspond, C and Z have to correspond. Because if you don't set your triangles up correctly, like this, when you start plugging in values for the lengths of your sides, you could potentially put them in the wrong place. And I did see that. Not much, but I did see that. So be very cautious whenever you're setting up, when you're naming these triangles and setting them up, okay? And then you just set up proportions, okay? So you can look back if you kind of forgot how to do that. Overall, I think everybody did a good job on that. After that, at the bottom of the page, you're going to be using the Pythagorean theorem. Show me all your work. Turn the page. On 398, you're going to be finding those three basic trig functions, sine, cosine, and tangent. Hopefully you have those memorized by now. But you have to use the Pythagorean theorem first to find that third. There's going to be one missing side of that triangle. Excuse me. So fill in all the sides with the Pythagorean, and then just substitute in your opposite, your adjacent, your hypotenuse, and stuff like that. And then the last two that you're going to do, you're going to draw your triangle. They're going to give you a reference angle. You determine which acute angle that you want to use, and fill in what they gave you. And they'll give you two parts, and so it'll either be sine, cosine, or tangent, and you just fill in all the gaps and find sine, cosine, and tangent, okay? It should all be pretty simple, and it should be very, very fresh on your mind. So, the second thing I want to do with you while I have you this morning before I cut you loose is these are I just wanted to let you know, the quiz that you're going to do is going to be over 8.1, okay? So sometime over the weekend or Monday morning before you take a quiz or whatever, just glance back over section 8.1, okay? So some of the things that you're going to have to do is know how to name angles, and like if I were to give you angle BAX, you would have to know what is the vertex of this angle, okay? So they're according to how they're positioned, okay, how the letters are positioned. So you got to be able to identify the vertex of an angle, know how they're named, know the significance of how they're named. You're going to have to know those pairings of angles that we learned, like complementary, supplementary. You're going to have to know what is a right angle, a straight angle, acute, obtuse, reflex, all of that. You're going to have to find a missing angle of a triangle, so you just know that every triangle has 180 degrees in it. You're going to have to work with similar triangles and know what the criteria is in order for triangles to be similar, okay? So when they're set up properly, the corresponding angles have to be equal, and all three sets of corresponding sides have to be proportional. And you're going to have to name triangles just to know how they're named. Like this is, I can call this the hypotenuse, and then these things are called legs. If I have a reference angle, then like if this is a reference angle, then I have to be able to identify opposite, adjacent, hypotenuse, just very basic things like that. So that's what's coming your way on Monday on this quiz. So make sure that you get all your work done, you get this review wrapped up, and get all your papers. I really want to commend you on the way that your papers are being turned in to me. Either you're doing a fantastic job, they're always like in order according to the day, and for the most part they're clipped together so they're easy. I can see that you guys are using that sheet with the lesson plans, and you're checking them off every day that you do. It just makes my heart so happy. You're just so together and so organized. So keep that up. It is really paying off, and you guys are really doing a fantastic job. Also, let me remind you, if you have anything that you want to correct, I'm still going to give credit back, and so When you turn your last week's work in on Monday, if you have any corrections that you would like to submit, just stick them at the bottom of the pile, and I'll make sure that those grades will get adjusted in GradeLink. So that's all I have. We will not have this YouTube class on Monday since you guys are just taking a quiz. So then I will see you guys Tuesday morning at 8:05, and we'll start a new section. Right? You guys have a good weekend. See ya. Enjoy the jam.